We have audio. I moved this thing over to the other side. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm trying to use this app again to see if it works out all right this time. So I did get it over here. Put down. I think what I'm gonna do. This thing, it doesn't really have any scratches on it that you can really tell. There's a couple like really light marks, like got some run marks from water underneath the mirrors. Maybe a couple around like where people grab to shut the door. Other than that, it's pretty much just like run marks here and there. A couple light little water spots here and there. These are always kind of water spotted up. These piano black pillars here, the A pillars. Yeah, I'm just gonna give everything just a light machine polish. I did tape off some of the stuff, like down there, where it has the black plastics, and then tape down there, just a little strip of paint down there. I don't want to hit any of the black plastics. I don't really want to hit. There's even some like around this molding here. I could probably stay away from it. I probably won't need to buff exactly like this lip right here. I'm doing like heavy paint correction. I'll get this lip, but for this, just a light machine polish. I don't even need to get like up on there too much. I'm just gonna do the main surface. I'm trying not to spend days and days machine polishing it when it doesn't necessarily really need it that bad. But I know just a little light machine polish. With the Menzerna, we use a Menzerna 2500, which is like a real light compound that diminishes down into a polish. And then I'm just going to use a soft pad, the white pads, black pads, and red pads, depending on the manufacturer. They're usually like finishing pads. So this is actually like a finishing pad, but I'm gonna try to use it for this one because it doesn't really need an aggressive cut. So let's get started. Let me know, guys, if you can hear me okay. I'm not going to spend too much time on this thing as far as like arm speed, the machine speed. I'm going to keep it all pretty consistent and just whiz through it. I'm not even going to get, I do have, over here, right there, I do have my paint correction light. I went around it with my handheld, my scan grip handheld, this thing here. And I went around it real quick just to look at everything, and it's pretty good. It being that it's white too helps. Kind of hides everything. So I'm just going to start with this quarter panel and then work my way around. We probably won't get it all done today, but we'll at least get a good jump start. On some of the bottom parts, I'll probably use the 3-inch buffer. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how far we get. I should shake this up some. Yeah, hopefully you guys had a good lunch, good afternoon so far. Got T-ball tonight, so I'm anxious to get to Grayson's T-ball game. It's his first game. The opening day was this past Saturday, that opening day, and this will be his first game of the year. He got new cleats this weekend for his birthday, so I told him that he'll be able to run a lot faster now. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think he's pretty excited. So I got to be out of here at a good time to get the T-ball tonight. All right, I'm gonna start off pretty slow, like 1.5, and then my amp. Usually the speed on even the 15 millimeter, 21 millimeter, the small 3-inch, the 70 LHR 75E, the 3-inch Rupes. I usually run a little higher, like 4 or 5. But these bigger machines, I usually run at like 3, like number 3. That's pretty common, like 2, 3. I usually don't go too much above 3, at least on cars, just because it tends to wear out the pads and just too much heat in the pad starts to break down the pad. So usually 3's good enough. It's really not going to need much more than that. I keep trying to clean out this pad. But usually if I'm doing something like this, a light machine compound, this is like super light. I could go a little bit lighter. I could go directly to like a polish, like Manzurna 3500 or 3800. That'd be like basically no cut. At least with this, I got a little bit of bite to it. If there is like a water spot, then to get out like the water spots or like finger hand scratches or something like that, I do want a little bit more of aggressive compound, something that actually has a little cut, a little bite to it. So I'm using a light compound and then a light pad. I could, if it had more scratches, I could go with I would just go with 2500 and maybe like a yellow pad, like a little bit more of aggressive pad. But you can kind of play around. It depends on the paint, the vehicle. This thing, I'm just hitting it all lightly. I could step it up. But one thing nice, when you don't have to buff these vehicles like a brand new one too much, you just got to do like a light machine compound. I like using the softer pad too. They're just a little bit more gentle around the edges. They'll keep the constant speed. They won't tend to slow down or kind of stop spinning. The rotation won't stop on some of the edges. The soft pads are a little bit more forgiving around edges and stuff like that. So it's nice if you can use this to lightly compound. It helps, but it's pretty rare on a used vehicle where you can do this method with a soft pad in the 2500. Typically, you need to go like a Rupes yellow pad or Buff and Shine yellow pad, something a little bit more coarse and where the foam's a little stiffer. But for this will be good enough. I almost went with Manzurna 3500, just polish, which is a little bit easier to remove when it comes time to remove. But I'd be afraid that I'll come back through and try to coat it and I'll find a scratch or like a water spot that didn't come off because I used a polish. Pretty safe around the edges. You don't have to worry. I don't sit there and let the machine sit there for a long time. But this setup at lower speeds is generally pretty safe. I mean, even if you're going, it's not generating hardly much heat at all. I wouldn't even call this like a paint correction. This is just like a paint preparation. Just kind of preparing the surface for the coating. So like these things drip water everywhere. And sometimes after they drip in one area for too long, tend to get water spot drip, like drip lines. I don't think the customer wouldn't be able to tell the difference if I did this or not. Usually not on this color. The customer will never even know if I did this or not. It's kind of a peace of mind for me to know that it reduces the chance of something going wrong with the coating. let's say if we were working at like a dealership level or like flat rate dealership level, would I sell this customer a coating working at a dealer or a paint correction? Probably not. I probably would have just cleaned it, wiped it down with alcohol, or wipe it down with a prep solvent, and then just start coating it. But this, I don't work at a dealership. People expect their coatings to hold up, so you got to just go a step further to make sure it's okay. Uh, could you coat this thing without buffing it? Yeah, and honestly, probably. But I'm not willing to take the risk. And for a little bit of time, we might as well just try to do it right the first time. Generally, these polishing pads tend to get, like a softer pad tends to get clogged up a little faster, tends to not like the heat so much. Like softer the pad, it tends to break down a little faster and the foam starts to get even softer. So like even if you start with the hard pad, like a more aggressive cutting pad where the pores of the foam are like really wide, like there's a lot of bite to the pad, it's really like coarse. Uh, they'll start to soften up a little bit as you start to get them cycled through and start using them. But these soft pads do the same thing. They tend to start getting almost too soft where it's not doing anything at all. So I have to make sure. I'll probably do this side, and then I'll probably switch out my pads. I could continue to clean it in my pad washer, but I try to keep it clean as I go. Clean it out every once in a while. I don't really want to get it too wet. Um, but I would say on a typical light machine polish, you go through 2 or 3 pads. If I was doing like an actual paint correction or like a compound and a polish, you probably go, depends how often you wash them out. it's probably better to have like 6 to 12 pads on like a more aggressive paint correction. Like if you could have 6 or 12 pads, or if you only have 6 and you just got, and if you have a pad washer, you could do that. But the less heat you have going through that pad, if you could swap it out every once in a while, uh, give it a kind of give it a break, give the foam some a little bit of a break from the heat, and switch. Yeah, I would say like it all depends. Like sometimes I'll use like 5 or 6 pads, and I'll just keep washing them, and then the next time I'll wash them when I'm all done. It all depends. I would say it probably is better just to use 10 or 12 pads on the full paint correction. That way your pads tend to hold up a little bit nicer. Um, but at the end of the day, you probably still go through the same amount of pads no matter what you do. Say for like if you were doing an actual compound, I would say you definitely want more than one pad. It's going to be too much for one pad. It's going to get too hot, too dirty, and then you're not going to get the even cut. So like if you got to cut pretty hard, if you got to compound pretty hard, you're going to want a bunch of new pads, like I don't know, at least half a dozen, because you're not going to get the same cut if you're trying to use the whole same pad on the whole vehicle. Maybe this side will turn out awesome, and then as you go, it'll start cutting less and less, and then you'll end up having to redo the other side or something like that. So you want an even cut, as even as you can get. I can't here. I can't really see what I'm doing too much. It's kind of I'm just trying to lightly polish it all out evenly. Not really chasing anything. I'm not really chasing anything in particular here. Just trying to get it all lightly machine polished. Pretty pretty rare occasion, even on a brand new vehicle. Usually we've been getting a lot of we have been getting a lot of white vehicles, which is nice. Um, but you usually can't get away with doing this. Usually you got some scratches to chase. Um, but I'll take advantage of it when I can, just to do something light like this. I'll definitely take advantage of being able to do this. All right, this fender, move it over here. So I've just been like lightly scraping my pad out with the cap of the lid. You can kind of see, just so it doesn't clog up as much. I'll switch pads here um, once I get back to the other side. I'll put a new pad on. I'll show you my pad washer too, what I usually use to wash the pads. But every once in a while, I'll just clean this off. I still got to do the very, very bottom. This machine's just a little bigger than I want to use. I'll have to get the smaller one. The top, I'll probably use a smaller one on the top too. This mirror, I'll probably use a smaller one on the mirror too. I could use this bigger one, but it gets a little finicky like underneath here. I could. I'm gonna have the small one out anyway through here, so I'll just wait to do that with the 3-incher. I think I might turn these other lights on. Yeah, I was saying earlier, gonna have a guy, one of my neighbor guys. He does like handyman stuff. I'm gonna have him. My garage, it's got like just like wood walls or like I forget what it's called, like particle board or something. Um, and I painted it. It looks pretty good on the walls, but the ceiling's just like insulation. So I'm gonna have him put in a ceiling. And I was just gonna have him do wood, but then he priced out metal. I'm like, yeah, it's like double the price for metal material wise, but it's gonna be so much nicer. But then when you do that, I'm like, well, if I'm gonna paint it, I might as well fix the ceiling. And I'm like, we're gonna do the ceiling, I might as well put lights in. That'd be the time to put new lights in. So he's gonna hang a ceiling in, a metal ceiling, and then put lights in. So I'm so anxious. It's been like 5 years looking at that nasty insulation, and it's like kind of hanging down and falling down. So I'm anxious to check it out. I don't really work. I don't even have, like, trying to find a screwdriver around my house is a nightmare. Pretty much all my tools and stuff is here. Like, if I need to wash my car, I just come here to the shop. If I need to work on my car, I just bring it here usually, or else take the tools home that I need to use. But I want to have the garage set up where I can clean my car at home if I need to. That way, because I live about like a half an hour from here. If I could work on my car at home, that would be ideal. But the garage, like the garage remodel at home, the only reason I'm doing all this is because I had this Swiss track flooring that I have over on this side. I had extra of it. Well, I used to have this whole room over there on the other side, uh, and it was like 1,100 square feet, and I did the gray flooring, just gray, over on that other side, and I only had that room for like a year. So when I decided to downsize, I was like, well, this room's pointless. I don't use it. It's just collecting junk and storage. I had all the flooring. I was like, I could have sold it. Like, I could have sold it probably for what I paid for it because the price of the flooring went up since I bought it. I probably could have sold what I paid for it, but I'm like, I'll just take it home, put it in the home garage. Yeah, put it in the home garage because I know if I sold it, I would never probably buy the flooring for my house. Like, I probably would have never bought it for my house from the get-go. So since I already had it, I'm like, we might as well just try it. So if you do that, like, then you got to paint the walls and do everything else. All right, let me go get the little 3-inch buffer. Take you guys over here. It's kind of like when you do like a restoration project on your house or on your car. You do like one little thing. Then you got like, we got the cab off of the truck and the engine out. We might as well paint the frame. Well, we might as well fix some of this rust while we're here. Well, we might as well rebuild the engine since it's out already. Kind of one thing leads to the next. The next thing you know, you're in like a 5-year project, which is all right. I don't mind that. My wife might say differently. Because if I'm cleaning up the garage, I got to clean up the basement. Then I got to clean up the shed because the stuff that I have it like moves around from the shed to the basement to the garage, stuff depending on the season. So it all comes together. Like you guys know, it's all kind of related. Your garage and the basement, if you have a basement, it's all kind of intertwined. So I cleaned up the basement, epoxied the floors and painted the ceiling. Just kind of like a raw finished, like paint the ceiling, paint the walls, epoxy the floor. But to do that, I had to put everything from the basement in the shed or in the garage. And then I started the garage, so then everything had to go in the basement. It's just been like 6 months of moving stuff from place to place just to be able to clean and paint. So we're kind of on the last little bit here. But next would be like organization, storage cabinets, without getting like too crazy. Like, I know what I want, but I'm not necessarily going to be able to get exactly what I want. So it's like, if I could pick any cabinets, I'd probably do them like lever rack. What are they called? Lever rack cabinets, like the green ones. Oh, they're so nice. But it's like $4,000 for a cabinet system. I'm thinking I'll just get a couple cabinets to put yard supplies in, maybe a cabinet or so for toys, and then something with tools and a workbench. But ideally, I want a garage where you can't see anything. It's just clean. Everything's in cabinets or in drawers. But I know that's like, I watch YouTube guys that have that, and I'm like, someday maybe when the kids, no, even without the kids, when they leave, I don't really ever foresee that. It would be cool though. That I like to watch other people's garages that they have absolutely nothing. You can't see anything. It's all hidden in custom cabinetry. So I'm using this is a knockoff version of the Rupes one. It's a Max Shine 3-inch. It's the only Max Shine buffer that I really like as of right now. I haven't tested them all, but I'm using the yellow pad. Yellow pad's a little bit more aggressive than the white. I just like the yellow pads on the 3-inch machine better, especially because it seems like the 3-inch soft pads for finishing are almost like too soft. Like they work for polishing, but I'll get absolutely no bite even using this compound. They almost turn into like a pancake. They don't hold their form after a little while.
These are the most common pads that I use, are these yellow, it could be a yellow Rupes pad, or a yellow Buff and Shine pad. All the yellow pads that I order, for the most part,
the companies tend to keep the yellow about the same, I think. I usually stick to Rupes, or actually I usually stick to Buff and Shine pads. Buff and Shine pads, and then there might be a couple other brands, like knockoff brands, Iberk or something, Iberk, some knockoff ones. But all the yellows seem to be pretty close or similar at least. I'm going to use the 3-inch here on the mirror. I want to check this mirror out, make sure I didn't really look at it too close. I was just looking for bug etching. If you're going to have anything on the mirror, it's going to be bug guts. This doesn't really have too much on the paint. There's a little bit down here. This thing doesn't sound too good. It's making a weird sound there. Usually, it looks like I'm running this one around 4. So the bigger machines I'll run around 3. The Rupes 15 and 21. They're both. I run 15 heads on all of them. I don't run any of the big 6. I think it's like 6 or 7-inch heads. But yeah, I've run all the bigger ones at like 3, number 3, and then this little guy at number 4. All right, let's do this top area.
This area doesn't really need anything, but I'm just going to hit it lightly for a peace of mind. I prefer and I don't know if you can hear me when I'm doing this, but I prefer not to buff white. Like, this isn't bad. A brand new vehicle, this isn't bad. But if a vehicle is going to be like really scratched up or messed up and need like hit with the rotary and finished out and this and that, or wet sanded, I would rather it be black personally. I don't like buffing out bad white paint. That's like the worst. That's like the worst. Like really trashed white paint where you have to buff it out. I would rather a black vehicle, no doubt. You look at white paint all day, you can't see it. Even with the good using the good scan grip lights over there, looking at white paint all day, you close your eyes at nighttime, all you see is white paint. It's just so hard to see everything, and it is hard on your eyes, and it'll kind of wear you out just from squinting all day, from looking at it, chasing scratches. Where black, you can see like, oh, this isn't working, or like it's obvious. Like you don't really need the best eyes to see black paint and see if it's working or not. So yeah, I would say you got two trash vehicles side by side. One's black and one's white. I and I would rather do the black one. If it and the black one might take actually they probably take around the same time wise. Actually, the black probably does take a little longer. Um, it's just mentally, I think it's usually easier on like I don't know. Black's just way easier than white. White's just it's just so hard to see. I wish they had like I wish they had like yeah, I don't know. Like colored lights. I do have colored lights and it works okay. Like I'll put green lights on it and stuff. You can kind of see it. Um, but someday they'll revamp the lighting for paint correction where it like I don't even know. Maybe you could like I don't know. It'd be cool if like the compound would glow in the dark. You turn your black lights on and then wipe off. You can see the compound, wipe it off, and then when you're applying the coating, it works with the lighting, and you can see the coating and the lights. Like they do have some stuff like that. Um, Probably don't. It's probably a dumb idea. All right, I gotta do these pillars. Do these pillars next. These could be a little bit of an issue here. Go get a towel to wipe this stuff off. Wasn't sure what time it was. It's 4 o'clock already. I got these white microfibers. It's so nice. I never had white microfiber towels. I like them. Well, I was working on a boat, so I wanted all white microfibers. I didn't want any dye transfer, like cleaning the inside of the boat. So like boats, I don't know. They say like wear white shoes, white towels, use everything white. Which I like these white microfibers, especially if I'm wiping anything with like lacquer thinner. I have to be really careful. I'm trying to find my light.
I have to be really careful using like any kind of solvents in these dyed towels, mainly because you can get dye transfer, like whatever pigments in the towel, it could bleed into the clear coat. Like if yellow towels and you're using lacquer thinner to maybe remove like road paint or something, uh, you could turn this white paint like yellow. It's not good. Usually you can fix it, but once you do it once, you never want to do it again. You're like, oh, that was a little sketchy. So like white towels are nice to have. All right, some of that buffed out. At least the water spots came out. It's not really too scratched up. Just had some light water spotting. Here, I'll show you. It's a little ticky. It's a little tick marked up a little bit. It's not too aggressive, but it does have a little bit of tick marks to it. Like I still got to do this right side. It's really hard to see. The water spots aren't awful. And this side's done. Really, I don't have any here this week. I should really, maybe when he comes back, upsell this customer altered black Suntech altered black PPF. So it's PPF that's black, and then it looks identical to this, but it doesn't scratch. It self heals if it does scratch. It's like if people touch this area, it always gets scratched up. So if you put this film on these areas here, you'll never get scratches. It's worth it for a very little investment. It's worth it. All right, where'd I put my buffer? Suntech Altered Black. Probably even order pre-cuts online. Like pre-cuts to fit your vehicle. It's pretty easy. It's pretty, if I can do it, you guys can do it.
If I was going to apply that, I probably wouldn't even, you're not really chasing scratches if you're going to apply a PPF, especially a black PPF. Just put the film right over the scratches, cover it up.
I don't have a plotter. I should eventually get a plotter so I can cut my own film, but I have a couple good friends that if I need the film, they have the machines. I can drive up, get pre-cuts from them, whether it's paint protection film or whatever else. And I don't need to order the material. I don't need the machine, the software. I just tell them what I need and go pick it up the next day or even that day. The guys are pretty good. Just it'd be nice to be able to upsell, like, hey, I have the car here, my machine's over here, and I upsell little stuff like cup handles, pillar, PPF pillar, stuff that's like super I can just do. It doesn't take me like a whole day to do it. Little upsells like that. But I mean, it's not a small investment. So if you want to get the plotter, I don't know, $5-6 grand, maybe a little bit more, somewhere in there for a plotter, a smaller plotter, and then rolls of film. Probably spend a couple grand on film. And then maybe a training class, just because if you're going to make the investment to get the software and the train, you probably want to go to some kind of training. That's probably a couple grand. So everything out the door, and then the software. You need the software to be able to get to use the pre-cut, like Suntech software. I think that's like for 10 and PPF. I think it's like $300 a month, but I would just need PPF. So I mean, you're probably talking like a $10,000 initial investment, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't do it that much. It's kind of a big investment
that I'm almost willing to take on. I'm kind of dragging my feet a little bit on it. Especially since I got guys that I can just get free cuts from within a couple days. Well, Ken, I don't know if Ken's watching this. Ken might have a plotter. Ken probably has a plotter.
If you're watching this, Ken, what do you have a plotter, and what if you do, what plotter are you using? What plotter are you using? All right, I think that's good. Then we're done. That's done. I'll probably have to use a little buffer to get this back piece here. They don't make it that easy to buff that piece. I don't know if Ken's in the chat or not. Phew, I don't know. I might just wait to wipe all this down tomorrow. I can let this compound on inside here. It'll be fine until tomorrow. I think I might just keep moving on. Get this other side done. Man, I've been hungry today. These lights, it's kind of a lot going on. I think they're not the best for paint correction. But for this thing, it'll be alright. Usually if I'm buffing out something that's trashed, I'll turn all these off and just have one individual light. Still using the same pad. It's not clogging up too bad. I keep wiping it with the cap on the lid. It tends to stay pretty good. And if you're just tuning in, we're not really doing a paint correction. We're just prepping this thing for a ceramic coating this week. So we already washed it, dried it. It's brand spanking new. It's only got a couple miles on it. Just doing a light machine compound, not so much really chasing anything. It had a couple little light water spots underneath the handles and here and there. We're just trying to give it a light machine polish to prepare it for the coating. Do you necessarily have to do this? Detailers would argue this is like a deep theology debate between detailers. This is the great debate between detailers: to polish before coating or not. This one I am going to polish it, and that's what we're doing now. It's funny, I said theology, but I was listening to a podcast last week with Hawk Pro Detailing. It was a podcast they were doing with a guy from Australia, and I think his business name or his website was like Detailology. I think it was Detailingology, which I thought that was funny. Detailology, the study of detailing. This thing will get iron contamination from the brakes. Event next year when I get this in for coating maintenance, I'll have to use usually on the back half. I'll get tar off the back and then iron remover on the whole thing. I'll know what I have to do a year from this, even being that it's coated. I already know probably what it'll look like a year from now. It's got a really, as I was talking to you guys, I can kind of look down the side here. It's got a couple of like really little, it's got a weird thing in the clear coat right here, like a little line. It's got a dent, like a little dimple right there. Usually always find stuff all over these, any vehicle really. Once you put it under some lighting, I don't usually point a lot of this out to the customer just because it'll drive them crazy. But usually you'll find like little dimples and issues on the paint. On that back hatch earlier, them runs that I showed you guys earlier in the last video this morning, I usually never see that. That was the first time I noticed that there's like clear coat dripping from the rear hatch type of thing. I've never seen that personally.
A little bit of dirt in the paint right there.
All in all, these things are still really nice. They're, as far as perfection, that's, you're never gonna reach that on an assembly line, let alone maybe even at a custom paint shop. It's no such. I've never seen a perfect. I've never seen a perfect vehicle like perfect, perfect, like perfect, perfect, like crawling in it with the spotlight white glove test, like perfect as perfect can get. Uh, I've never have. In some eyes, in some the eyes of some people, like my wife or something like that. Um, but like perfect is a strong word. It's a pretty strong definition. Got high, very high expectations for perfection. Um, I don't really know of anything that I've seen that's like perfect. I should say I've never seen anything perfect that was created by man. I mean, within reason. Like if it's, I can't even think. It's like not vehicle wise. Like there's too much going on. There's too much going on for to call something perfect. If it was like I don't know, like this molding or like you're selling this molding or something, there's less going on. There's less that can go wrong. It's easier to call it perfect versus something that has like so many things happening with it. A couple really light runs underneath the door handles. Nothing very crazy. Like I said, there is a little bit of light runs here from the mirrors. These mirrors do hold a lot of water. The cap's getting pretty full of compound. Just trying to clean out that pad every once in a while. Doesn't seem like the pad's getting too broken in. It's not getting too soft. I'm still able to use it. But if you're just tuning in, it looks like we're doing absolutely nothing to this thing. Look, that guy doesn't even have proper lighting. Doesn't have the paint correction light out. He's not even looking what he's. You're probably saying he's not even looking. One thing with these handles, you just want to try not to hit the edge of this onto the handle if you can prevent it. It's not like this isn't like hard plastic. Usually you're all right. I've never damaged a handle from this. from this edge, but I don't want to find out. Yeah, general rule of thumb when you're buffing paint is like we're not really chasing scratches or defects here, so it's kind of a different story. But generally, like if you want to chase some scratches, start with the least aggressive method first. So this would probably be like the least aggressive method here. Besides maybe switching to like a lighter polish, like the actual liquid that I'm putting on here. You could switch to like a polish instead of something that has grit in it. This has a little bit of grit in it. The 2500 cut. Um, you could go a little lighter than this, but as far as like chasing scratches, this is like I usually wouldn't pick up this combination, the trace scratches. I'd probably start with the yellow pad that I was using earlier, the yellow buff and shine or the Rupes. Like if you want to buff your own car and you have these tools, the DAs, I'd probably start with like a buff and shine or a Rupes yellow with Manzurna 24 or 2500. That's pretty least aggressive method. And start with that, and you can do a lot with that. Sometimes you have to hit it multiple times with that process, wipe it off, hit it again, wipe it off, hit it again. But that's probably the least aggressive method. Keep your RPMs low, set around 2 or 3, somewhere in there. If you're a little nervous, start off at like 1, just kind of get a feel for the machine, and then you kind of got to do some test areas to see how many times you got to pass it, how slow you need to go, how fast you want to go as far as arm speeds, how many times you want to overlap, how many times you want to work the material in. You do a couple test areas, then go from there. But generally, all in all, you're pretty good with like the yellow Rupes pad or buff and shine yellow, with the 21 or 15 millimeter throw, or the little machine, um, with the yellow pad and Manzurna 2400 or 2500. Once you start getting into like Manzurna 400, it's pretty aggressive cut. Or if you go like, I kind of think of it as like sandpaper, like 400 grit sandpaper. That's pretty aggressive versus 2500 grit. And then when you're finishing out, it's like 3500, 3800. Usually, if you're getting out them fine polishes, it's usually on dark paint, and you got to refine the scratches down. Um, I don't have to polish everything with 35 or 3800. Usually, this Manzurna 2400 or 2500 typically will finish out. It diminishes down into a polish, so it'll refine down enough to where you don't have to hit it multiple times or switch to a different pad and polish, unless it's like a black C8 Corvette or like a black anything black, usually like that has no metallic and it's really soft paint. Then you might have to get out the polish, all depending what the customer wants you to take it to. Um, but all in all, if you had like one pad, one combination, it would be yellow pads with Manzurna 24 or 2500. I don't see too much of a difference between the two. I have both and I use both. I'd say I'd like probably 24 better than I like 25. So it has a little more bite, but it polishes out. It diminishes down until polished pretty nicely still.
But each time you'll have to figure out how big of an area you can work with. Usually I'm not cranking it above 3. That's 3 right there. You start stepping it up, 4, 5. It's too much. For this it's just too much. Maybe for like a boat or gel coat, you're cranking out them RPMs. But generally like 2 or 3 is pretty good.
Not every brand of machine's created equal too, so you can't really say, well, he put it on number 3, and what am I getting these results for from this different machine? I'm using the Rupes 21 millimeter with a 15 millimeter head. So yeah, each machine's not created equal unless it's the same brand, same model number, same throw. But I buffed a lot of vehicles with Rupes pads. I just don't do too many Rupes pads because they're a little bit more expensive, and I think the Buff and Shine pads actually hold up better. So they have knockoffs, like knockoff yellow pads similar to Buff and Shine or Rupes, that are just as good, if not they're better, and they're a little bit cheaper. And when you're going through a lot of pads, it's good to find cheap but like still holds up, and you're not like changing out pads every single pass. But when Todd worked here, we buffed out a lot of paint with the Rupes yellow pads, and we were buffing out stuff that you probably should have just hit with the rotary first. We'd use a Manzurna 2400 or 400 or 2400, depending on how bad it was. With the Rupes yellow pads, you hit it like 2 or 3 times in one area, like buff it, wipe it off, buff it, wipe it off, buff it, wipe it off, and then move on to the next area. Sometimes you could buff it that much. That's a little, you're working the machine a little more than you need to. You probably should go a little bit more aggressive if you have to hit it that many times with one machine setup. You probably should have just hit it with the rotary or a more aggressive pad or compound. You don't want to sit there and buff it with the same pad over and over again. But it is what it is. This is a nice setup.
It's fairly smooth. I could hold this with one hand. I could just hold it with one hand and buff this thing. Not much pressure at all. Just kind of allowing the machine, holding it on there enough to where the machine isn't going to fall off. But you don't have to dig into the paint with the machine and press really hard.
As far as what I'm putting on the pad, I mean, this pad's already kind of caked up with this compound already. I just usually put a couple little drops on. You don't need too much. I tend to use too much product. I usually use a little more than that. That's just I know I should only be using that much. Sometimes it just comes out a little faster and I just roll with it. these bigger machines, I always try to go with the Rupes. Just I've learned my lesson on the cheaper ones. You tend to have more problems with them. But even these Rupes, I've still purchased a Rupes, used it for a couple times, and it died, and it's now taken apart in a box. I should have sent it back, but I tried to fix it myself, and I never ended up fixing it. Just kind of sitting in a box in parts. Um, but yeah, the Rupes is the way to go if you have the money. But again, I think Harbor Freight might be coming out with a new one, something better than what they had before, from what other guys were saying. So that might be a little bit better. And then the Max Shine, them guys have a decent one. Like if you're only doing it once in a while, I wouldn't necessarily go with the Rupes unless you'd like to. I don't know. It's kind of depends what your budget depends what your budget is. Because I'm sure guys buy this, use it once, and it just sits. But then again, if you probably could sell it for close to what you paid for it if you just used it once and then get rid of it, and it'll hold its value probably better than the Max Shine buffers. I gotta do this top area and then the mirror. But yeah, if you're in the area or something or live close by and you're looking to buy a buffer, give me a call or give me a call or swing by. I don't carry them here. I don't keep them in stock, but I can get you a better price generally than what they sell them online for, just through wholesale accounts. I can usually get them a little bit cheaper, especially if I order it with like orders that I already have coming in anyway, so I don't have to charge any extra for shipping. But I don't know. I haven't done that for a while. I used to do it a lot for customers that want or different guys that wanted buffers. Just get do with the wholesale accounts and stuff. Ordering so much product and stuff, you get a better price. But now it could be different. Maybe the discount isn't as good as it used to be with shipping. So shipping kind of threw everything off. But usually, like, I don't know. I don't know if Autoality, they're out of Pittsburgh. Autoality, they have like a wholesale program just for like even do-it-yourselfers, and you can get a pretty good discount for that as long as you're ordering enough product. There's no minimum order amount. It's just um, you pay like the initial fee. And if you do have a detail shop, you don't pay the initial fee on Autoality. Contact them, shoot them an email, and they'll just sign you up. They'll put your business in there, and you just automatically get registered to be a wholesale account. Sometimes it might be worth it. Like if as a side hustle, even if you only detail a few cars a year for tax purposes, sometimes it's beneficial to have a wholesale account or a business, some kind of business where you can register your business to get them wholesale discounts. Like Detailed Image, they require a certain amount per year, so they have like a minimum of like different levels. But I think the minimum that I have is like 3 or 4,000 a year minimum, which isn't too hard to do. But Autoality, they don't have that.
And actually, Autoality ships faster for me.
Autoality has, as long as they have the stuff in stock. Sometimes they don't have stuff in stock, but Autoality has been a hair cheaper for me with the detailed image program. Uh, the Autoality has actually been a hair cheaper as long as they have it. They don't always have everything I need. But on certain products that I order, as long as Autoality has it, they're actually cheaper than detailed image when I'm using my wholesale program even. I bet you even retail, I don't know, retail, I think all them guys got to serve one price. I'm not sure. But I would almost question the retail pricing between different places. Sometimes it might pay to shop around. I'm definitely a firm believer if you don't that everyone should have a side hustle. For sure. Just a little side hustle. Not so much so you can like get better tax benefits or this or that, but just like if you want to buy something, maybe you can sign up for a wholesale program or just that's beneficial in itself. Polish this mirror. Man, I am hungry. We went out to eat. Saturday night. Grayson's birthday. Oh, I could go out to eat every night. I really could. I enjoy going out to eat so much. I just know we can't, like, it's not a thing. Like, I can't, there'd be no way we'd be broke if we went out to eat every night because I just eat everything on the menu. But I could definitely eat out every night. Never cook again. My wife's an awesome cook, but I like the atmosphere. I like having options to order anything that I want. I probably weigh 500 pounds if I went out to eat every night. One little chip. There's like a little chip right there. Very little. I don't know if it's a chip or just a defect in the plastic. Some of this stuff I'm like polishing nothing. Like there's no issues with it. I just know it does make a difference for coating it. And then I'll wipe it all down right before I coat it. I'll take off all this compound, all the compound. I'll wipe it down with a prep solvent right before I coat it. So, and I'll do all the finishing wiping at once. I'm not going to wipe this off and then have to wipe it again tomorrow. A little bit of dust settles in the room. I only want to have to wipe this once. Now, if I was doing it outside or something, I'd have to wipe it off pretty much immediately. But being inside and it's kind of cool today, I'll let the compound on here overnight.
Even if it wasn't cool in here, this compound doesn't dry on there like you can't wipe it off. It kind of always wipes the same.
Yeah, I could eat steak every night. Steak and crab legs and shrimp and fish. I could eat or fried chicken. Oh, I'm getting hungry now. Fried chicken, maybe a cornbread, some crayfish. Keep telling my wife I want to move to Louisiana. That way I can get like crabs. Yeah, get crabs all year. Blue crabs. Oh man, that's like the best. That's like my favorite. Is blue crabs. Move down south somewhere, get crayfish, shrimp, blue crabs. I'm guessing all year. I don't know if crabs are there all year or not. I have a couple things that I really enjoy. One being like crabs. I love crabbing. Like I don't know if I could do it for a job. I would like to think I would like to do it because I enjoy it that much. There's like not too many things there's not too many things like as a kid, like when you're a little kid, you lose sleep because it's Christmas. You don't even sleep that night, or when you get your first car, you can't even sleep because you got a new car or a four-wheeler. Like that's how crabbing is for me. I don't have too many things like that where I lose sleep because I'm so excited to go out and do it. But like crabbing and fishing that's the only thing really that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Besides like kid stuff like this first baseball game and this kind of, but like personally, like crabbing is like that's it. I'd like to someday. I'd like to have like a little boat and just go crabbing every week. Never see me again here. I'll just go crabbing every day. That would be awesome. No, it is way better going with a friend or. I've gone crabbing by myself. It's not as fun. I got a kayak. I bought a kayak because it was like easy to store in my shed. I like bought it for crabbing specifically, and I only took it out like once crabbing. It just kind of sits in the shed now. So I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would make time to go crabbing like I'd like to think I would. kind of like you think it would be a good idea, and then you find yourself never doing it. Whenever someone calls, I think the video freezes. All right, I'm gonna give this front bumper a light polish. And then the only thing left, which I might not even get done today, we might, I'm not sure, is the hood and the roof, which you guys don't want to see the roof. That's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But I'll give that a light polish too, because that one definitely has some light water spotting. At least it has like a big sunroof, which is nice because then I don't have to do that much machine polishing. So yeah, so next business venture, I would like to start a crabbing company. I joke about that, but there's only several things that I like. It's kind of like if you're gonna shut down your business, you'll know when you know. And something crabbing related. Yeah, I just like food a lot. Like something food or crabbing related. I know better than to start to get in the food industry as far as business wise. I know better than that as far as being too busy. And then it's hard. I mean, I'm sure it's hard to make a living, especially starting out in the food industry. I'm probably better off just sticking to like a hobby type thing, honestly. But I'm trying to create like some kind of goals, or like I never really had like set goals. I was talking to you guys last week about that. Like what's something you would like someday, and I would like to be able to do them kind of things more. Go crabbing, take Grayson crabbing, take the kids crabbing, do that kind of stuff like throughout the week. All right. I don't even see anything on this. There might be some light bug etching here, but for the most part, I'm just polishing it for preparation. Oh, there's a little chip underneath there. Really little chip underneath the hood. Oh, look, there's more clear coat drip. Here, I'll show you. Here, let me show you guys. Well, I'll show you the back first. Here, let me show you the back first. This clear coat drip. Sorry, it's gonna get a little shaky here. You can see, like right there, there's like clear coat dripping. Here, let me open up the hatch. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let me get my finger there so it'll focus. Right there, there's like clear coat dripping down, and it's pretty visible. Right there. And then I just seen some in the front. I've never seen this. Wonder if there's any over here. Right there. Like it looks like glue or something, but it's like clear coat drip. Probably hard to see, but it's right there where my finger is. The clear coat's like dripping off the hood. Kind of cool. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not going to mess anything up. At least I don't think so. But yeah, it's almost like they just dipped it in clear coat and it just like runs off of it. That's not how they do it. No, they don't dip these things in clear coat. They're sprayed by a machine, but it almost looks that way because it's not like it's runs. There's not like runs in the clear coat. It could be. Maybe it was from the backside process, like however they paint the backside of the hood. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Guess I probably should know them kind of things, huh? I don't think I need to polish the light. I just need to clean off some bugs. I'm not going to worry about taking abrasives any kind of abrasive to the headlight. Try not to polish the headlights or use abrasive on headlights. That way it doesn't mess with the coating on there. I try not to hit them if I don't have to. I don't think this combination will mess with the coating on the headlights too much, but better just be safe than sorry. It's nice. It's nice when this isn't all painted. Like it's nice. This one's like brand new, so it's nice and clean. But some of these grills, like even this one, it's not too bad, but it's got some pretty deep access areas where the bugs get stuck and you can't get them out. I think I don't know, like like people that create these grills and design the grills definitely don't think of the detailers. Like there's no way. They're definitely not detailers. Whoever creates grills, um, like in these, especially the GMCs, like a Denali grill, you could spend like I've had them so bad where I was like, I might just pull the whole grill out and replace it, or like pull it out and try to clean it with acid on the table type of thing. Like Denali grills, oh forget about it. You add on some time to them. I need my light. One little chip right here. It's almost like a. It might just be the primer. It's kind of like touched up, like really little. Like you can't even. You can barely even see it. I thought maybe it was like the pins for the license plate area, but I don't think so. I think it's just a really little chip. And right here, there's like a little orange speck. I'm not sure what that is. I might compound that a little bit more later. Might have to get something a little more abrasive for that. Wonder how bad these bumpers are to PPF. Looking at it, doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. I mean, this area doesn't look bad. Maybe this area right here, but it's probably all cut and spliced from the pre-cut. It probably isn't that bad. It'd be a little on the tricky side for me being a newbie. But it doesn't look like impossible for me. But if it was like bulk roll, no pre-cut, yeah, probably not. I don't think I'd stand a chance. That pre-cut film to cut the fit is pretty nice, especially on a bumper that's real intricate. Vinyl wrap, I could vinyl wrap it bulk roll, but not PPF. I have no clue what time it is. Not sure what that orange dot there is. That's too hard to see on the camera. It's very tiny. All right, what time is it, guys? 5 o'clock already. Jeez. All right, very good. Well, I think I'm gonna get out of here. I think we're gonna call it quits. Tomorrow I'll have to do the hood. The hood and the trunk, the hood, the rear, and the roof, and then it'll be prep it all and then start coating it tomorrow. I don't know if we'll finish coating it tomorrow, but probably should get most of it done tomorrow. I got some other odds and ends stuff to finish up here, but we'll get back on working this tomorrow, and then we'll also read what John chapter Someone was calling. It always freezes, I think, when someone calls. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. We got T-ball tonight. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks.